sailed and all your dreams are lost. Everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Good evening, race fans. The moment that you've been waiting for after a 2-week hiatus. The Elite Cup Racing Series is back at Indianapolis for the Mighty Shield 200. My name's Jonathan Leach. I'm joined by Gary here with Sim Racing Media for 80 laps at Indianapolis. We have 4 additional tire sets, 3 green-white checkered attempts. Fuel window is going to be between 28 and 32 laps. Qualifying has just finished up, and we're about ready to get this race underway.
Yeah, good to be here in the booth with you tonight, Jonathan, for 200 miles around. I almost said 200 laps. 200 miles around my home track, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Got to be a great one here tonight. I'm excited for it.
I certainly hope it's not going to be 200 laps. We'll be here all night long for this event. As the drivers begin to grid, we're showing 19 drivers in the field here. As you see on screen, they are going to be led off by Tristan Bailey and Dwayne Furtick. Moving on further, row number 2 is going to be John Osborne and Tyler Burden, with row 3 consisting of Kent Moeller and Doug Denise. Row number 4, Michael Carter and Ethan Brooks. Row 5, as drivers continue to grid, is going to be Christopher Howell, Anthony Luetti. Starting 11th is Randy Meeks with Gary Nash to his outside. P13 is going to be Ryan McCall with Alan Holtzman 14th. drivers appear to be on the field now. Robert Roth and Pete Walsh will be row number 8. Furthermore, row number 9, Christopher Roth and Douglas King and Adam Boughton is going to be the final driver. Now, Gary, we were talking about the lap times that you were expecting to see in qualifying, and you weren't too surprised by the laps that these guys were putting down. Give us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, just Indianapolis Motor Speedway is a very temperature-sensitive racetrack. So when I saw that it was going to be about a 10 a.m. qualifying time, is when these guys were starting in the sim, I kind of predicted that a couple of guys would probably get into the 50-second bracket, and we barely got there. Pole Center was like at a 50.8, and I believe second place was as well, and the top 3 all were in the 50-second bracket, just barely, but. Tonight's going to be one of those races about track position, man. Indianapolis is historically hard to pass at, and with this track being hot and slick, it's going to be tough for these guys to get around.
And if you can see right here at the top of the screen here, the different lap times that we had, top 3 were under that 51-second bracket, as you were talking about. Tristan Bailey, Dwayne Furtick, John Osborne. Indianapolis is 2.51 miles. And, Gary, you're kind of saying this was your home track. What's the difference really between the shorter straights versus the longer straights?
Well, I mean, about the only thing that's the same, I guess I'll start with that, is the length of each corner and the length of each straightaway. Both the front and back straightaways are 5/8 of a mile. And then I believe it's like 1/8 of a mile for the short chutes and the 4 corners. But what's different is everything. I mean, turns 3 and 4, a lot more wider sweeping corners. So definitely a wider radius, where turns 1 and 2 at the south end of the speedway, they're a lot tighter. And it's going to cause for some chaos, I think, down at the south end of the speedway, especially in turn number 2.
All right, well, we're getting ready for this pace car to start pulling down. As we're coming to the straightaway right now, we've got 19 drivers, 80 laps. The pace car pulls down pit road. Tristan Bailey and Dwayne Furtick are going to start this race off, as Tony Trapasso, longtime sim racing media member, would say, race fans, grab your popcorns, and it's showtime here tonight as the Mighty Shield 200's beginning into turn number 1. Tristan Bailey's going to take sole position out front over Dwayne Furtick, side by side for third.
Yeah, side by side for third, but quickly they're in 5th position and 6th position. They are single filed out there. And I think that's what we're going to see a lot of tonight here with these Cup cars in particular. The way that you're going to need to make a pass is going to be that slingshot move here, as you see the 06 in that 3rd spot getting ready to make, or that 4th spot getting ready to take over that 3rd spot from the 11 car. But yeah, I mean, simply put, here at Indianapolis, your best bet is to either pass coming out of 2 and 4 or passing going into 1 and 3, just with the draft and the run that you'll be able to get.
And so these guys already, for the most part, single file coming to lap 2 here. We talked about the fuel run being about 28 to 32 laps. Do you think these guys can get there on tires, or do you expect to see guys start hitting around? We got 4 extra tire sets, so I mean, hit around lap 20. I'm sure somebody wants to save. See these guys start coming down pit road.
Yeah, it's going to be a 2-stop race either way, so it wouldn't shock me if they get to the front end of that window about lap 25, lap 28, and they make their pit stop, and then again they'll make another pit stop around lap 50, lap 60, somewhere in there. All
right, so as we've started single file out, we're taking a look at the movers so far. We have Ryan McCall up 2 spots. No one's up more than 2 spots so far for this event. We'll take a moment as well and look at the weather tonight, or the weather today. Air temperature 73 degrees. Track temp is a whopping 104 degrees now. Slight wind, it's cloudy, and there is some in-track humidity as we're following Dwayne Furtick with Allegiant Racing. For the lead. Running a slightly different line into the corner right here. Fastest
yeah,
5.
that's
Go on.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So the fastest 5 laps so far in this race, with the fastest being 51.78 by Tyler Burton. Currently in P3, Tristan Bailey ran a 51.81, 51.82. So the top 3 drivers are right there with each other. And 4th and 5th also, top 5 are the fastest on track currently.
Yeah, and you were talking about the different lines that these guys are running here so far. The 51's taking that old school IndyCar line, as I like to call it, just a little bit above that white line, right around that first scene here at IMS. While the other two in front of, the other car behind them, the 06 and our leader, they're kind of taking that new contemporary line that everybody's been doing, and that's getting right below that white line and getting right up against that curve, as the 51 calls me a liar right there, taking the inside that time. But it's there's a couple of different ways that you could approach the corners. But I think the best way around here, especially with how abrasive this track is, with it being a diamond grind, is definitely just backing up your corners, getting as low as you can, especially with the dirty air. The more you can get more downforce on that car, the better it's going to handle and the more it's going to turn for you.
So what should we expect with these cars around lap 12 when they got 12 laps on these tires going into the corners? It's been a long time since I've raced on iRacing. I know a lot's changed really since then. But what I remember is you can really overdrive entering turn 1 and entering turn number 3. And then you can overdrive it, and then you can't really rotate it, and it basically ruins your next lap as far as momentum goes.
Oh yeah, you totally. It's very, very inviting to take the IndyCar approach, thinking that you're going 240, and that you could just absolutely set sail into 1 and into 3 here. If you do that, again, like you're right about that. That part hasn't changed. We may have changed generation of cars, but the principles of IMS are still the same. You got to be able to back up your corners here, get that car to rotate. You got to be very finicky with your wheel input and with your throttle inputs here.
Drew, let's take a moment here. We'll talk about the in-race challenge. Drivers highlighted on the left side are part of the current in-race challenge for the Elite Cup Racing Series. And as you can see, you got Bailey, Burton, Muller, Denise, and Boughton are still a part of the in-race challenge. We'll discuss that more as the race goes on this evening. As our lap 6 is on lap 6, about to complete that, coming to lap 7. Finally looking at the first really on-track battle since this race has begun, and it's between Doug Denise and Michael Carter. They were side by side, and they pulled back in line, and there was passing and looked to be in front of them between Tyler Burton and Kent Muller, but it got sorted out rather quickly.
Yeah, it looks like a change of position, change of third place here. It's going to be that John Osborne in car number 11, taking that third spot from the 06. And the 06 had a moment a few laps ago where he got loose. It looked like coming out of turn 3, and he's been trying to gather it back ever since. And with these next-gen cars, they're very hard to save, so kudos to him on making that happen. But as he hits the wall there in turn 4, that's going to happen a lot here tonight. Turn 2 and turn 4, going to see a lot of people hitting the wall over there. But, yeah, I mean, it's just going to be tough to get around here. Once you have one slide, it's kind of hard to recover, especially with your tires after that. But I will say that Robin Hood car, I think it's the number 95 of Anthony Ludi. He has definitely been taking a different line from what I've been seeing compared to most of the other guys. He's running significantly higher. At least in turns 1 and 2 he was, as he's calling me a liar. Now he's wrapping the white line like a champ. But the last few laps, he's been running that higher lane as he's doing it right here in turn 4, where he's really arcing it and trying to cut it as low as he can just to keep his momentum up throughout the corners.
Well, we take a look at our biggest gainers. And he's not amongst them, so he's doing something a little bit different. Adam Boughton is up the most presently. He's up 4 positions, currently running in 15th for Revolution Motorsports. Robert Roth up a handful of spots too. it seems to me that this is going to be a very difficult to pass track until the tires start to wear out. And we're going to see who runs their tires the hardest. We're showing lap times now from 52 seconds, pretty much 52 flat, as slow as 53 seconds. And that's probably a pretty reasonable fall off for 10 laps here on a hot racing surface.
Yeah, especially here at IMS, it doesn't surprise me that these guys are already about a second slower, about 10 laps into this thing. Wouldn't surprise me if they fall off another half second to another full second, and here in the next 10 laps after that. Handling really comes in here at IMS, especially this time of year, with how hot the track surface gets. And can't forget that there are bricks still underneath the surface, thanks to this old place being over 100 years old. There are still about 3.2 million bricks still underneath this asphalt surface here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
All right, I didn't expect us to spread out quite like this. The top, the first to second, we got almost a 2-second gap from second to third, about another 2 seconds, and about another second, and then fourth to fifth is a little bit closer. From then on, though, everybody's within about a second of each other, a few tenths, but the top four are starting to slowly walk away from the rest of the field. And, I'm curious to know, what's the difference? What do they do that's different than the other, let's say, 14 drivers?
Historically, here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, clean air is king. So the leader naturally is always going to be able to walk away because he's got the cleanest air on his race car, the most downforce those front tires be able to turn the best. Typically, the top two, top three, top four can usually pull out a second or two amongst each other. And then usually about fifth to sixth on back, because we got a car in the fence there, they're usually in a pack similar to this. I mean, we see this with the O'Reilly series all the time when they come here in those cars. And the NextGen, since it's been back on the oval, it's kind of produced that similar kind of racing where it's your top 3 or 4 kind of all fanned out, and then it's pretty much a pack through the rest of the field.
All right, so we're expecting, 12 laps away or so from possibly the first green flag pit stops. We're going to take a step away. We'll go ahead and get one out of the way as we're only 10 minutes into the Mighty Shield 200. I want to thank everybody for being a part. Expecting the action to pick up, but right now these drivers are just being as technical as they can and getting around this racing surface safely. We'll be right back.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
Hi, folks. Jonathan Leach and Gary back with you now here. Sim Racing Media. Not much has changed since we left the top 5, continuing to slowly stretch out where they are as far as the running order. Tristan Bailey is almost 2.3 seconds ahead of Dwayne Furtick, and the gap is about the same for them. But the rest of the field is starting to get more and more spread out.
Yeah, they're starting to spread out a little bit more, which means the tires are starting to fall off on these cars, which means we're probably going to have pit stops here pretty soon, I would imagine. Like I said, with it being a 2-stop race for fuel, you're getting about 30 to a tank. You might get a little bit more as this pace falls off, but I think 3 things are going to be important here tonight, and 2 of them we've already mentioned. Track position and tires, and then surviving turn 2 and 4. I mean, we've seen a couple guys already hit the fence in both turn 2 and turn 4. But as we see the 16 car on pit road.
He's been on pit road for a while. See what his car looked like when he entered pit road. There we go. A little bit of contact with the wall, it looks like. Probably ended up with some, wheel damage, I imagine.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Definitely had some wheel damage at some point there, and bringing it in.
And talk about Anthony Boughton. He's trying to get himself back into this, the in-race elimination challenge. He started tail end of the field. He's moved his way up to 12th. Still got a handful of positions to go as the other 4 drivers in it are running first, 4th, 5th, and 6th. He's running 12th. If he doesn't want to be eliminated this week, Gary, he's going to have to finish ahead of one of those other drivers. What else can you tell us about that?
Yeah, if the winner of the in-season challenge gets 3 chase points heading into the chase, if they finish in the top 16 points heading into the chase. So, with these guys here, or maybe it's top 12, I don't know, I didn't really look. I was pulling that just out of my head. But yeah, if they qualify for the chase, as we head into the chase, they get 3 extra bonus points, which could pay huge later on down the line. So, doesn't sound like a whole lot to race for because it's only 3 points, but it could definitely pay dividends later on.
I mean, there's certainly a pride that you have with that to win the in-season chase in a sense. That's something that you can add to the record books as far as your Elite Cup racing career goes. These guys have been around for a long time, several years. We've called them here at Sim Racing Media. It's kind of nice to be a part of it now, as I haven't been a part of their racing in a long time myself. As we're 20 of 80, a quarter of the way through this one. Lap times, leader down to 52:31, but 52:30 to 52:9. There's only about an 1/8 of a second per lap different from first to last. That's Tristan Bailey running first on track, and 18th is Pete Walsh for Lone Wolf Racing, and I guess that's because he's the only one of his team on in this event. He's running a 52:98. He's almost 28 seconds back. Not really sure what caused him to get so far behind everybody. He has yet to pit, but looks like he's waiting around. He's going to do the best he can, and he's going to need a caution to get back into this one.
Yeah, and unfortunately with the Elite Cup Racing Series, they don't have a whole lot of cautions. So I went back and looked at some of the previous broadcasts, and they only get about 2 to 3 yellows per race. So if they're lucky, but tonight with them being as fanned out as they are, I wouldn't be surprised in a completely green race here on out. But things have happened here on iRacing, so we'll just have to see how it goes.
And we're waiting to see how it goes. So far, not a lot of movement as far as drivers. John Osborne has taken over the 3rd place position, and you see him swapping with Dwayne Furtick for 2nd on the move here late. He's about 0.2 of a second faster than everybody else on track, with the exception of Tristan Bailey, our current race leader, who continues to step away. He's only had about a 1 second, not even 1 second of fall off since the start of his race. Until, yep, he's had about, as far as his last lap goes, only half a second per lap time of fall off, as we're going to go on board and see what he does.
Yeah, he's done a phenomenal job just keeping that car underneath him and, on board with him now and taking it fairly easy around Indianapolis. You do shift here in this next gen car down into fourth gear, and usually you just do that just one to help with the car to rotate and to help to get that car slowed down for turn 1 and turn 3 in particular. But it also just helps you keep your momentum up, keep those RPMs up, which the con of that is causing more wheel spin at the exit of your corners. But if you can manage it really well, it's just overall it's just going to be a better handling experience for you, especially in these fixed setups.
All right, so that's lap 24. Who's going to be first up? Adam Boughton, first down pit road.
Yep. He's going to be the first one down, and you kind of have to be at this point. You're lap 24, lap 25. You're running in 12th. You've done all you can to move up with the tires that you currently have on your race car. So at this point, you got to kind of roll the dice and see what you could do by short pitting here. But all of this, you're really setting yourself up. I kind of split this race into 4 different quarters here. Always have at Indianapolis. You're really setting yourself up for that last run. So once you get to about lap 50, lap 60 there, you're heading in the last 20, 30 laps of the race. That's where you're really starting to set yourself up for the win or getting the best finish that you can.
All right, so quick, easy pit stop right there. Total pit lane time, 56:55. We'll have to watch everybody else and see if the short pit's going to work for Adam Boughton as he just barely loses a lap. You see, I think that's the 4th or 5th place driver. I can pull up the maps here so that we can actually try to get a good idea where he is. So there's where Adam Boughton cycled through. The leader, the number 9, having yet to pit. We're going to see what kind of lap times he runs as far as to kind of give us an idea of if this is going to be a net gain for him. The short pit, probably a good idea to get him closer to these guys. It doesn't seem like to me that the fall off is that great. So, having a couple laps pressure tires early might be beneficial for him to, gain a couple more spots as far as track position goes.
Yeah, definitely will gain him a couple more spots. We'll just have to see. For Tristan, though, I mean, with him not falling off much at all, it's really been beneficial for him to just keep doing what he's doing. I'm showing his best laps of 51.81, and his last lap was a 52.43, so not even a second for him. But a lot of these guys have fallen off about that second, so who knows? We'll see here. It might work out for Adam here in the long run. Maybe instead of running in 12th like he was before the pit stop, might get himself into anywhere from that 8th to 10th ranges. We got the 24 car on pit road here.
The 24 came down pit road as well as Dwayne Furtick just entering. He vacated from the 2nd place position. Maybe it was the 3rd or 4th place position when he comes down pit road on lap 54. This, I think, is going to bring the other leaders, just before we talked about the window being 28 to 32. But with there being 4 sets of tires, we're already about closing in on a 3rd through this race. I think splitting this up in potentially 3rds. These guys coming right here, I guess they could pit again on lap right around at 55, and they should be able to make it to the end, as you were saying. A two-stop race as far as fuel goes. It looked like Tyler Burden just slammed the wall coming out of number 4, trying to get everything he could out of that machine. Here comes more drivers, Michael Carter and Ryan McCall.
Yeah, we've got the 2 or 3 guys coming down here on pit road, but yeah, just that tricky part. Old tires, man, here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Turn 4 is the most sweeping corner that they'll have on the entire speedway, so it's really inviting for you to overdrive the exit of that corner, and a lot of the times the result of that is hitting the wall, as you saw there. But we've got pit stops here with the 95, and these guys here. I don't know which car we're on board with here now, but
That's number 90,
Ryan
Ryan McCall. Fastest pit lane time so far was Alan Holtzman with a 50.82. We're going to see what these guys run here in just a couple moments. 52.23 right there is the fastest of that group, as we've got Ethan Brooks, Gary Nash, and Randy Meeks on pit road now. So the green flag cycle pit stops certainly ensue at this time. Ethan Brooks leading this group of drivers down. Tristan Bailey remains on track, and with the lap times he's running, I don't really see why he needs to come in and pit, other than for fuel here, which, as you were saying, so it gets to about 20 to 32. Do you think he can stretch it a little farther than 32?
I think in the draft he would have definitely been able to extend that, but I wouldn't be surprised if here in the next lap or so he'll have to come down pit road. So, but yeah, a lot of different pit strategies. We got the 06 Tyler Burden back on pit road. Seems like an unscheduled stop for the 06. I could be wrong though. Maybe he hasn't pitted yet.
He pitted from he's pitting from the front. He had that wall contact at a turn number 4,
right.
And that's what it
so
was.
He's probably got wheel damage now.
Hopefully not. But Robert Roth, Christopher Roth, also coming down pit road, looking for Adam Boughton right here, who can potentially take advantage of this. Back to 15th as drivers are trying to cycle through. We're going to see where he's scored coming through the start-finish line this time around, completing lap 30. He's following what appears to be the Ethan Brooks machine excuse me, that's not the Ethan Brooks machine. It must be a lapped car in front of him, the number 1, perhaps. It's ready to cross start-finish line. Timing and scoring should update for us. Still showing him in 5th this time.
Yeah, Adam's still in 15th. Chris Howell has taken over the lead in that one car.
Bunch of
yeah, and a lot of these guys, especially if you're running up here at the top 2, top 3 at this point, you were able to extend it a couple laps just by solely with the draft alone here at Indianapolis. So
the trouble right there for John Osborne, that's worth mentioning. He had to back up to get in his stall. Several of these cars don't appear to be in their stall as well, but Osborne did have to back up, slowed his stop up. It looks like he's going to beat the 2 cars out behind him, but definitely cost himself a little bit of extra time, showing the longest pit lane time of any driver currently at a 55.43. Here comes Christopher Howell.
Yeah, and really it's all about being efficient as you come down pit road. You want to make sure that you have the least amount of roll speed as possible. You're getting into your pit box right on the money, which here at Indianapolis we have the narrowest pit stalls and the narrowest pit road of any track on the circuit. So really, really key. You've got to be very, very precise when you come down pit road here at Indianapolis.
All right, so as far as Adam Boughton goes, you short pit the field. He pitted on lap 23, about 5 laps earlier than everybody else. He is still running 12th. So it's
sometimes it just works out that way.
Yes, they've cycled through. He didn't really gain any positions. However, Kent Moeller lost a lot of time and is right in front of Adam Boughton. He can see a car that if he can get in front of, he can eliminate that driver, put him on the outside looking in for the next week of the in-race or in-season elimination challenge. However, the difference between them is 7 laps as Moeller pitted on lap 30. And the first caution is out. Christopher Howell.
He hit the grass, the bloody grass there in turn 2, and it sent him sideways back up onto the racing surface. I've done that a few times in my time.
Ooh.
Oh! Well, I haven't done that. That was close.
Man, I'm going to want to watch that again. That the number 74, Pete Walsh, that came by him? I was not. Pretty lucky right there. It's going to be caution number 1 as the pit cycle had just occurred. We'll step away for a brief moment for this caution, and we'll be right back. We'll be restarting with about 34 laps to go here at the Mighty Shield 200. See you soon.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
All right, everybody, we're back here for the ECR Cup Series, the Mighty Shield 200 at the Brickyard, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm Gary. John's with me here in the booth. And lights are out on that beautiful Mustang pace car. We're getting ready to go back and see some racing here. About 35 laps to go, or sorry, 45 laps to go. It'll be lap 36 when they take the green flag, so almost to halfway. but still going to be a one-stop race to the end, even with this caution. And these guys are around to turn 4 right now and making their way down the front straightaway. That pace car is going to make a hard left turn into the pit area. There he goes. Restart's going to be in the hands of the leader, that 9 car. Tristan Bailey here, and green flag back in the air, back underway at Indianapolis. And he got such a great launch off the start there. The 40 car there of Doug Denise. Thought he was going to be able to make it there to second, but he's going to fall back to third there. The 11 of John Osborne is still there in that second spot, and the 9 car walking away from the lead pack. Surprised we haven't seen more of this. I think that might get a little more intense as we get through this race, but figured we would see more guys going 2 and 3 wide, particularly down the backstretch. It is so inviting as there's a little bit of contact there between the 18 and the 90.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to get everything you can on these restarts based on what we saw the last time around. These drivers certainly must know that at this point, and they're going to be a bit more aggressive this time around, as you see a lot more side-by-side action the first lap getting back going here.
Yeah, and that especially for that Dwayne Furtick. I mean, he's down 9 spots since the start of the race. He's kind of fallen back into that pack, so he's going to be one that's going to be getting all he can. And I think that's where you might see some passes on the high side be made here, just because everybody's running the bottom, so you kind of have to go where they're not.
You know, something that I feel like I remember from this track is you can't follow a driver through. If you try to follow one of these guys through the corner, the car gets extremely tight, so you have to change the line. If I remember correctly, back from when I was doing a bit of racing myself.
Yeah, it's particularly here, especially in this next-gen car, the dirty air is so bad. Like you said, you really can't follow through anywhere. Because it does get you into a lot of trouble. So that's why you'll see guys, especially if the car in front isn't holding the bottom like they should, you'll see guys try to get lower and get more air to that left front fender, which gives you the most downforce as you can through a corner. Or you'll see guys offset to the right as well.
We're watching Dwayne Furtick trying to get a spot away from Ethan Brooks. Coming into turn number 4 right now to get back to the front stretch with Anthony Luetti just in front of him in 7th. 2 weeks ago, Anthony Luetti was eliminated from the in-season challenge. Only 5 remain, and currently Kent Muller and Adam Boughton are in the final, are battling for the final position. Muller just ahead of Boughton. Boughton did come down pit road during that caution, as well as a handful of other drivers, and does not appear like he took tires. I think he might have taken fuel only with an 8-second pit stop, so there's still the disparity between the tires between the two.
Yeah, definitely could have taken right side tires there for sure. With them still being not able to make it the rest of the way. Right here, especially where the caution came out, would definitely take a chance on taking 2 tires. I would definitely take 2 right side tires here, especially if these cars are running tight, which I assume they are because it's a fixed setup. It would loosen the car up a little bit for you, make that car drive just a little bit better, and you're able to gain a couple spots on pit road that way as well.
All right, so nothing's really changed as far as Tristan Bailey being out front. Take a look at the race, the race recap here. As a halfway point, Tristan Bailey, we've had 1 caution for 3 laps, only 1 lead change. Christopher Howe managed to lead 2 laps. He's currently in position P12, and Tristan Bale 38 of the 40 so far.
38, 39 laps there as it just ticked over as he crossed the start-finish line. But I will say, John Osborne, that is, has been able to keep up with our leader this time. The leader isn't really pulling away as much as he did the first run of the race. So I think that 11 car, he might surprise a lot of people coming down to the end of this race as one to maybe overtake that 9 car. But really, as we're more than halfway through this race now, this is where you're really going to see that restart in particular. But now this run, a lot of different shuffling. I don't think you're going to see as much give and take as you saw in the first run of this race. And we're still short on fuel to make it to the end. Nobody can make it. So it's going to be really tricky here to see when you come down for that final pit stop. And you're not going to need a full tank. You're just going to need a splash, maybe a gallon, maybe 3 or 4 gallons to make it to the end of this thing. So going to be interesting to see if we're going to see any drivers go right in when that pit window opens, or if they're going to wait a little bit longer, just to wait as long as they can and have to pit when the fuel runs out.
It's gonna be really interesting to see how this is going to play out as where that caution fell. We're back to pretty much single file, almost just like we were before that first caution that we saw earlier. Guys, a little bit closer back here in the back of the field. Kent Moeller, Christopher Howe. Moeller now in the elimination area as far as the in-race elimination challenge goes. And golly, these drivers get very close to that outside wall. Through turns 3 and 4. Gosh, I'm so out of practice as far as talking. But here we looking for a pass right here. Christopher Howe also trying to work on Moeller. Excuse me. I'm sorry. That's Christopher Roth behind him and Ryan McCall. This is a competition for P13. McCall going to take that spot without much trouble. All drivers staying off the wall as we're back to the front stretch.
I thought Rock was going to really make a move on that one car and just lost his momentum, and that's the price you pay if you overdrive a corner or if you have to lift for any reason. You just lose momentum for the next straightaway, and really it just ruins your next half a lap to full lap, and then you kind of have to rebuild your rhythm again and get back into that spot again to try and make that pass. But yeah, these guys are really taking all the racetrack today, especially in turn number 2. It's been pretty crazy to see these guys here. And like I said, like I've been saying throughout our race here so far, turn 2 is the trickiest corner, I think, out of all 4 corners here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That south side of the track there, where 1 and 2 is, it's a tough spot to crack. Especially going into turn 1, it's so inviting to overdrive, and I call it Fan Canyon because you got fans on both sides on the front straightaway there. And turn 2, it looks sweeping, but it's a very, very tight radius through turn 2, and you have to hit it just right. And if you don't hit it right, then you're going to be in that outside wall in a hurry.
And don't look now. John Osborne has shrunk the gap down to first place driver Tristan Bailey to under 1 second. We're seeing just below 0.8 of a second. The last couple times by, he's been a bit faster. Last lap, he was nearly 0.2 of a second faster. So there is a driver that can run with Tristan Bailey. Doug Denise up 3 spots as well. Michael Carter up 3. Got Robert Roth sitting in 5th back there as well. The only driver on track that can contend presently with Tristan Bailey lap time for lap time is John Osborne. Last time around, he was 6 thousandths slower, so that's negligible. We'll see what happens this next time around as we are on lap 44 of 80.
And looking here at the lap times, I mean, John Osborne is 1/100th faster best lap compared to Tristan. So, I mean, they're right there on pace as far as these 2 drivers here. And I think Tristan, if he's not careful, he's going to have a little bit of competition from that 11 machine. But like I've always said before here at Indianapolis, and really with this next gen car in general, catching them is one thing, passing them is a whole nother thing. Especially here at Indianapolis, it is very hard to pass, and like I said before, you've really got to set up your pass with the next straightaway in mind. So if you try to catch them out of the corner, you want to get up right to their bumper, and then going into 3, you want to try to outbrake them, or going into 1, you want to try to outbrake them and make the pass that way. Or if you can make your pass in the short shoots here, that's also a viable option. But really, most of the passing you're going to see is going into 3 or going into 1.
You can see in real time here the difference. It's still 0.8 of a second, not really getting any closer. But a little further back, a good battle right here for the third or fourth place position between Doug Denise, Michael Carter, Robert Roth. Denise in third. Carter about a second behind him, with Robert Roth right there as well. Anthony Luetti still hanging out around the 8th place position.
Ooh.
Adam Boughton right there. Just looked like he just kissed the wall, perhaps.
Kissed the wall there, yeah.
Might have been able to avoid it. He's moved himself up to 9th. Safe on elimination currently, but he's got to remain there for quite some time further. Moeller seeming to get
32 laps is a long time around here.
And Moeller seems to kind of gathered his vehicle back up. He had a series of a bad series of laps. He's running 11th, but he's no longer dropping positions. And it looks like he's getting ready to make an attempt at a pass here on Ethan Brooks, driver number 23 Chevrolet, just in front of him, on board with Kent Moeller now.
Yeah, and he's really got to defend that one car. Chris Howell right behind him there in that number 1 Chevrolet, but Moeller here, he's holding it pretty steady. He's running a little bit of a different line. He's kind of running that Casey Kane line that he would run back in the day here. Casey Kane, when he drove the 9 Evernham Dodge in particular in those days, ran a very high turn 1 like Kane used to back in the day. But turn 2 definitely took a more of a conventional line here. And you see him doing that exact same thing again there in turn 3. Run a little bit of a higher line. Yeah, and you could hear the tires screaming in this onboard with Randy Meeks. It's you're really burning your stuff up through turn 4, as we heard it right there. That is one of the cons here of Indianapolis Motor Speedway as far as the racing here goes. Your top 2 will pull away, and then your top 3, maybe top 4 will pull away a little bit. They'll get about a second amongst themselves, and then 4th, 5th, 6th on back. It's all kind of everybody's right there together. Always good racing in the pack here that I've said at IMS before with these stock cars, but as far as battling for the front runners, the top 3 or 4, it could be a snooze fest.
That's really kind of what we're getting, and I think it'll change kind of right down at the end of it. But if Osborne can't catch up to Bailey, we're not going to have much of a lead change here. And it just seems like most of these guys are just slow. They've found, about where they're supposed to run in the order of 19. It's just not, it's almost as if everybody's fall off is pretty much equal to their ability to drive this track.
Well, and I think too that this next gen car, when it provides parity like this, I believe the 06 is coming down for his last stop of the day. The parity of this car, it's actually Mueller, sorry. See, they all look the same, red, white, and blue. What can I say? But with the parity of this next gen car, with them all being equal, it's the same parts, same pieces. Everybody's going to go the same speed in their respective skill gap, and everybody's going to have the same fall off. So if you have a lot of good guys up there toward the front, they're going to get the most out of the car that they can, and then so on and so forth throughout the rest of the field. So, but that's just one of the tough things with this next gen car. Everybody kind of falls off at a similar pace.
As you see, the 06 that, yeah, we just mentioned Tyler Burton. Easy work of Michael Carter. I think Carter kind of gave him the position to not lose more time on track. Dwayne Furtick coming down pit road on lap number 54. And we discussed, and we know these guys can make it to the end from here. So if there are no cautions or anything like that, these will be the final round of pit stops. So as a driver here, you want to make it count.
Yeah, especially for a lot of these guys up toward the front, as you're positioning yourself for these last 20 or so laps here when they come out of pit road, you're really having to position yourself towards the front of the pack. And I think it's really going to come down to, especially this battle for the lead between the 9 and the 11 that we've seen tonight, it's going to come down to who can get through pit road the best. If the 11 has his little mess up again and overshoots his pit stall like he did the first time, that might throw away the win for him tonight. But still, long ways to go here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Many, 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 many laps left. So, unfortunately, here at IMS, it may seem like that there's only 25 or so laps to go. It's still a long ways away to the end.
Still waiting for other drivers to make their pit stops. Osborne and Tristan Bailey kind of back and forth between a 0.8 of a second gap and the 1 second. Lap time's pretty similar last time around. Osborne 0.2 a second faster. But it seems like they just kind of tend to trade back and forth, and this doesn't really seem to get almost as if Tristan Bailey's managing the gap. Denise, however, slowly trying to get into that picture. Excuse me, I totally misspoke here. But it looked to me for a second, it looked like he was closing the gap, but I was looking at the distance between Tyler Burton and Doug Denise. Tyler Burton closing the gap on the third place car. Running lap times pretty comparable to that of the leaders is now Ethan Brooks and Gary Nash come down pit road, and Nash really locking the brakes up a second ago. We're going to see if he might get burned potentially for speeding.
Don't want to get a speeding ticket here, because that'll really ruin your day. And of course, that 40-second hold that goes with it, not a fun time speeding here at IMS. But yeah, really going to be interesting to see when the leaders pit and what they decide to do with their fuel situation and tires. I think you're going to get 4, potentially, as John Osborne's on pit road. And I was just getting ready to say, if I'm John, I definitely want to make sure that I pit before that 9 car and make him sweat a little bit if I can.
Yeah, you're going to have to try to do something different, but how much earlier do you want to pit than him? You try to just get it 1 lap? I mean, certainly when he comes down, I imagine the leader's going to come down as well.
Yeah, probably here within the next lap or 2. I just want to see if I can get an undercut on him. And if I could spend more laps at speed just getting around this racetrack, and with new tires, I'm hoping that will be enough for me to close the gap. But it all depends on when you get on pit road, how well you're rolling through the pit lane, and then how you enter your pit box as well. Yeah, this battle here between the 40 and the 06 is heating up. I mean, they're right there. But Mueller also right there. He's a lap down, trying to get one of his laps back and get back on the lead lap.
Yeah, just really kind of, I mean, hate to say that it kind of has been a snooze fest type of race, as Tristan Bailey was beat by Osborne coming down pit road. Osborne did 52.35 on pit lane. So this is big for Tristan Bailey. Can he beat that pit lane time? Can't have any issues. He gets on with pit road speed of 54 miles an hour, hover between 54, 55. Just saw 56. Brian McCall's coming down pit road. Will he lose time? But the other thing is, who got on pit road the best and who gets off pit road the best? It's not just the time on there. We saw earlier, I think it was it Alan Haltzman's machine? I don't think so. That went around earlier, coming off pit road, trying to get everything he could get.
Yeah, and that's the one thing too
Howe.
about this track is cold tires. Yeah, Chris Howell, when he spun out coming out of the pits. Cold tires here can be very tempting for you to overdrive, especially the warm-up lane on pit road. But you touch any wheel here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the grass coming up to speed, and you're done for. And that's what happened to Howell earlier. So we'll have to see what the blend line's going to look like here for the 9 and the 11.
Well, John Osborne is up to speed. Tristan Bailey coming out right there.
Might be able to get there, might be able to make the pass, but they're going to be side by side down the back straightaway.
And still got momentum, as you said, side by side. Should be able to clear him into 3. He does. You could be looking at the race for the win right here, as Osborne is going to, effectively take over what will be the race lead if he can hang on to it after the drivers in front of them come down pit road. How long do the guys in front stay out? The field's now led by Doug Denise. Tyler Burden is a bit behind. Anthony Luetti coming out of pit road at this time. Here comes the leader now. Denise trying to get down to get his speed down. He does. Robert Roth as well. But now, with John Osborne in front, can he step away from Tristan Bailey?
Yeah, that's going to be the tough thing to see, because we haven't seen the 11 car really in clean air all day, and we haven't seen the 9 and Tristan Bailey in dirty air at all today. So, what's that saying? Unmovable force or and removable object or something? I don't know what they say about that, but it's going to be interesting with these two cars, because it looks like the 9, you could tell, is definitely faster at this point, and I think it wouldn't surprise me here if we see the 9 try to do a dive, but the 11 seeing that coming, he's taking a very defensive line going through 1 and 1 right there. And I think if I'm Osborne, I can't blame him, right? I think if I'm him, I'm going to be running right down the middle of this back straightaway, and if you're going to make a move, you're going to tell me where you're going with the bumper.
Yeah, so what I do wonder is, does the model have it figured out regarding getting on the left rear bumper and slowing that lead car down, as you see for Cup Series racing on Sundays?
Yeah, I mean, really, it's they've really gotten it to where the air really affects a lot of things. And if you can get to the rear end of one of these cars, if you could pop the balloon, so to speak, you could really get the car in front of you loose if you're hitting their air just at the right time and the right way. So I wouldn't say it's slowed them down yet. I think they're still working on that, but definitely for sure they've gotten the aerodynamics down where you could take air off the spoiler and it makes the car incredibly loose.
Take a look at the details. We're on the gearbox camera for the number 94, Adam Boughton, who's now in the lead after starting last. He still has to pit, but looking at the detail of the racing surface, you can see the cracks, the grooves, and the concrete. iRacing did an excellent job scanning this, even the outside of walls, and just the amount of detail put into each one of these racing surfaces is just really incredible. Computer work.
We rescanned this place a couple of years ago. They did a really good job on it. I mean, I was one of the first people on it when they did the rescan of this thing, and they did an excellent job with the detail. And every track is laser scanned, but man, with IMS in particular, they did a really good job getting the artwork just about that Penske perfect, as they say, because Roger Penske does own this place now, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, in racing, not in racing.
Well,
oh man,
he
so
owns
here
the
comes
track,
Bailey getting
and he has the most Indy 500 wins as a team. So
yeah, and that's unfortunate for his NASCAR championship hopes as of right now. I think with the change, doesn't seem to suit that organization as well. But Ryan Blaney still seems to be in it. But Tristan Bailey not going away, blows within 0.2 of a second. Now, how long, as I was about to ask, at what point is Adam Boughton going to come down pit road? And does he have
right
a
now,
large enough gap to not cycle behind Mueller, who is showing 46 seconds behind him? Pete Walsh coming down pit road as well.
he'll fall behind them, but very might. Well, it's going to be close. I think it's going to be very similar to the situation we saw between the 11 and the 9, as far as the gap there in that situation. There, as far as where he'll line up next. But Walsh is on pit road, and now it's going to be Chris Howell, the last car to pit, and he's got a 32-second lead over the 11 car right now.
Fortunately, I think even if he was
And
come
he's
down for
gonna pit.
fuel only, he's going to lose that lead here. But that might be the play. The fall off just isn't enough. Go fuel only right here, and then pick up some some position on track. Osborne stretched it out to 0.4 of a second, had a little bit of a tow from a vehicle in front of him. I'm not exactly sure which car that was, as Howell's still coming down the long straightaway on pit road. Osborne leading Bailey out of turn 4 onto the front stretch. Christopher Howell on pit road looks like he is
right
doing.
ahead of them.
Yeah,
and if I am
tires.
the one car, I definitely want to take 2 here. I mean, maybe not take 4. I think he ultimately chose to take 4 here, but I would definitely, depending on how much fuel he needed to get to the end, definitely would have taken 2 there, especially if you had to wait on fuel anyway, just so that you can at least get a little bit more grip out there, because it will loosen that car up. But let's see how he does getting off pit road. He had some trouble last time. I don't think he can go that high.
Not nearly as aggressive either this time off.
I don't think you could go that high going through turns 1 and 2. I think he might get an unsafe pit exit for that.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. I
think
you're right.
That dotted line.
I do think you're right. And as you mentioned, Michael Carter there giving the tow to Osborne, perhaps offering a little bit of assistance over Tristan Bailey right now, as we're under 15 laps to go. But Bailey's going to bite a big chunk out of that going into turn number 1, closes the gap almost 1/10 of a second right there. I'm curious to see where Osborne is better than Bailey driving around.
Seems Osborne's really good out of turn 2, and it sets him up so well down the back straightaway. But where that money gets paid, that 9 car is really good through turns 3 and 4. And getting into 1, as you saw there, he was able to close it in. But really the front part of the racetrack, exiting 4, getting into turn 1, I really do think Bailey has the advantage. And if he's going to make the pass for the win, I think it's going to have to come down right to this part of the speedway.
The gap holding at 0.3 of a second right here. Looking for other on-track battles. You have Tyler Burden, Doug Denies his battle for 4th. Right here, very close. Tyler's going to look to the inside here. Not quite close enough. Seems like he rotated the corner rather, a little bit better than the number 40 right there, but just not anything he can do at this point of the on-track. Ethan Brooks on pit road.
Yeah, and like we said, like I've said all day, catching them is one thing here, passing is a whole nother thing. And if you catch them just wrong, you're not going to be able to make that pass, and you kind of almost have to reset again, as the 06 is going to try to send it down there into turn 3. And I've seen that many times here, where a guy will just try to outbrake him, and just be right there in the wake. If he could get his tires right below that white line, he does.
Oh,
I
big
think he's
wiggle
going to get
by
it. That 40
Denise in front of
car
him.
is, yeah. The Denise had a really big wiggle, got really loose there out of turn 4, which that happens quite a bit because you're so on edge coming out of turn 4 because you want to get to wide open as fast as you can, and it could cause a lot of handling problems. You see that both in the Indy car and you see it here with these stock cars at IMS.
Almost locked together right here. Take a look at this, in race challenge though. Everybody's right there, position wise, they're right there together. Mueller is about 3 seconds behind Boughton and currently in 6th. These guys just not, able to get this sorted out right here. This side by side, and they're both getting more and more aggressive as they finally get sorted out here. It's starting to cost them some time, but I don't think number 40 is done yet.
No, I don't think that 40 is done yet either. He definitely found something with that late arc in turn 2 that last time, and he made that work really well in turn 4. I'm curious to see if he could figure out turns 1 and turns 3. I think he might have something for that 06, but lap traffic going to come into play here in the closing laps of this one. When in our battle for the lead here between the 11 and the 9 car.
Yeah, the question here is big wiggle there from the number 9. Going to give Tristan Bailey an opportunity. Can't make any mistakes here when he's right behind you. I do think he's, like you said, just slightly stronger. You got to be perfect if you're the 11. And then with the lap traffic in front of them, well, with Michael Carter attempting to stay on the lead lap, might be a more accurate thing to say. It's got to really be disrupting the airflow.
Yeah, disrupting the airflow, and really, the 18 has the right to try and stay on the lead lap, per the sporting code, of course. But I don't think, it's not that Michael Carter's trying to be slow and in the way. It's just one of those things where it's like, because of the air here at Indianapolis and with these cars, it's really hard to make the pass. And the last thing you want to do is just give up and get out of the way.
And believe it or not,
you don't know if we're going to get that caution.
He actually ran the fastest lap on the track last time around. 51.83 as Osborne is looking to make the pass and put Michael Carter a lap down, and Bailey's going to try to follow him suit. Now, wow, that's
that is close.
Bailey last second there, I thought he was going to put himself, get split by him. That last second, move to get around, perhaps saved his race, but both Bailey and Osborne equally kind of having a moment there on other sides, on opposite sides of Michael Carter for Revolution Motorsports, who is now the only car on the track one lap down.
Yeah, well, and Carter didn't have to make it easy, and he didn't. But you had to do what you had to do to try to stay on the lead lap, and these guys are having to do what they have to do to battle for the win of this thing. So, I mean, it is a big win. When you win here at IMS, I don't care if it's in real life or in the sim or if it's a go-kart race, you want to win at Indianapolis. Or if they're racing the dirt track in turn 3 or in the infield.
I've been to the Indy 500 one time, and it's a really great time, but I equally enjoyed the Lucas Oil Speedway, about 30 minutes away, and the short track
IRP,
racing that we did there. That was a pretty incredible time. Great mix of different machines. They had sprints. They
Silver
had
Crowns there, the USF 2000s. Yeah. Always a good time at IRP. And when the trucks go there and the ARCA cars go there in the summer weekend for the Brickyard weekend, they put on a really good show over there too at IRP. And IRP is a unique track. I love going over there.
It's crazy to believe that they could put these. So they didn't put ARCA cars there, obviously, when I was there, or the trucks, but it's insane that they can. They fit, because I mean it's not a huge track based on what I remember there, and but I guess for the crowd that ARCA and the Truck Series draws, they really do have the right amount of seating for it. But I remember going there, and they had, like the step program that gets into the kart tour.
The road to Indy, yes, yeah, the USF 2000s there. they'll race after the Hoosier 100. They have the Hoosier 100 there every year with the Silver Crown cars, and it's incredible how fast they get around that 6/10 of a mile, 5/8 mile short track there at IRP. And by the way, the length of the oval at IRP is the same length as one of the straightaways at IMS. So if that tells you anything, it's tells you how massive IMS is for sure. But yeah, IRP, it's they can get those cars going pretty fast, especially those open wheel guys with how much downforce and all that they have in their machines.
This isn't sorted yet. It's about 5.5 laps remaining for Osborne and Bailey. Bailey trying to, just get back to the lead here, having led the most laps at this point. We'll take a look at the recap. John Osborne, 70 lap 75, 8 leaders on Osborne, 1 caution, 6 lead changes. Here are your leaders: Tristan Bailey having led 56 laps, Osborne 9, Christopher Howe, Adam Boughton, Doug Denise, and Tyler Burden. Bailey, just kind of waiting for a slip. And I mean, who do you want to be here? Do you want to be Bailey? Yeah, if you're Bailey, you feel really confident. If you're John Osborne, are you confident in yourself, or are you like, I've got the guy who's the most dominant car right behind me. I can't slip up. Not really sure who I would want to be.
I want to be the guy that has the clean air because I can manipulate that car behind me. And I was just getting ready to say, if Osborne really wants to have a chance at winning this race, he has got to do everything he can in these corners to cut the air off of that 9 car. Because I've noticed that he hasn't really been running as low as he should. And he's been given that 9 car just a little bit of downforce with that left front fender on that 9 car to be able to get a little bit more grip through the corners. So if Mr. Osborne here can just get below that white line and just hug that there and be disciplined, he might be able to start walking away from this 9 car.
So far, there hasn't been any mistakes from the 9. Let's look further in the field as we got a crazy battle right here. Michael Carter's kind of in the middle of it as well.
This might be a caution. This might be your late race yellow that you don't want to see if you're the 51 or if you're the 11 or the 9 car here. But the 51 in the thick of this battle amongst these 3 guys, they're battling for that last spot and oh my goodness, and the championship elimination thing, and oh my goodness, there goes a 51.
There goes a car. Is it gonna stay green? I don't even
It
know.
looks like it will. I don't know how he did it, but they did it.
Now, if I'm Dwayne Furtick, I'm going to remember this.
Going to remember that for later. Well, next week they go to North Wilkesboro, so we go to short track next week. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, the Burden had a Ruderman moment. David Ruderman. He rooted a man right out of the way, so...
I haven't heard in a long time.
Well, if you're a Ryan Newman fan like I am, he has some funny moments. That was from an old Daytona weekend in 2009. As these guys are still side by side for the lead now. Ooh, a little bit of door checking there down the front straightaway. Ain't nothing wrong with that. 2 laps to go here at IMS.
Yeah, I wish we would have seen where Osborne opened the door that allowed Bailey to get in there. I mean, if you're Osborne, you're going to have to drive him as hard as you can.
A little bit of net code, a little bit of door checking there through the short chute between 1 and 2. And I think Bailey's going to clear him. No, he's not. Not quite. They're blocking. They know that this is a big win to get. And Bailey wants this one badly. He has absolutely dominated this race today, but you got to give a shout out to Osborne. I know it's not over yet, but you got to give a shout out to Osborne for doing all he could there the last 20 laps or so, giving Bailey a run for his money. But unless the 9 makes a grave mistake, I think he's probably going to pull this one out as we got the white flag here at IMS.
Already pulled about 14 seconds away right here over John Osborne. Right here. Tyler Burden's full possession of Doug Denise and with Adam Boughton. Doesn't look driver of the player who's going 7th, depending on Anthony Luetti, who's right behind him. Look, gain one more position out of the last corner. I don't think it might be last couple corners, Dad.
Yep, and rounding the final corner for the last time here, the number 9, Tristan Bailey, is going to come down and take the checkered flag in the mighty Shield 250 at the Brickyard, or 200 at the Brickyard. I don't even know how many miles, whatever.
I have to wonder, because after he took the lead away from John Osborne, does finish, he stretched the gap to 1 second, lap and a half, as got a side-by-side finish right here,
position
beating
here.
and banging. It's going to be
McCall is going to get the spot there. I think McCall got the spot, did he not?
I'm showing scoring the
Yeah, he did.
98.
90 P8 by just by 1,000 some. I'm assuming at that point, photo finished there for 8th spot.
Seventh, just not good enough this late in this.
Yeah, unfortunately, Mueller is going home tonight a loser. Well, that was a little harsh.
That finishes top 10, top half of the field, and his drivers coming.
Oh, 51. Was he trying to play some games there with the 06? I think there might have been some post-race confrontation between those two. Get yourself a camera on that one. I wouldn't be either after getting moved out of the way like that. Oh, don't you. Oh, he did a burnout on the bricks. That's frowned upon in real life, doing a burnout on the bricks.
Fine. On the.
Okay, all right, you're right. I'll give him a little bit there. But I tell you what a great race there. You had the battle for the lead there in the last couple laps. You had some fireworks for 8th spot there at the end, and even those the 51 Dwayne Furtick being a little upset there with our podium finisher Tyler Burton there at the end.
I mean, unfortunately, it was 4 drivers that couldn't get away from each other, and they all wanted to occupy the same exact space. One of them couldn't do it, and unfortunately,
yeah,
Furtick, who got the put in the pick there. But I mean, what do you do? You lift.
That did not bring out a yellow, by the way. I was shocked. Is he trying to do a Kurt Busch victory lap backwards or going the right way but in reverse? Ah, he's doing the old Jimmy Johnson burnout. Oh.
All right, we're going to start trying to work on bringing in our inner here. Go ahead and start with Tyler. Gary Tyler Burden drive the number. Now post.
Yeah, Tyler. Talk about the end of that race there. We saw the contact between you and the 51. Talk about your race. Talk about those closing laps there at that tight racing y'all had there. It was about a 3 or 4 way battle there for that 3rd spot.
Yeah, that race it got intense. Dirty air here is deadly. Like as soon as you get into the wake of somebody, it just shoots to the wall. But that closing lap. That was kind of trying to find clean words to use here, but that was definitely that was a cluster, because I had the fresher tires and I had the run, but it just seemed like every time I get the run, just because we're going down the straightaway, he can go down further. Now I don't know if like initially I was the one, but I felt like I gave him plenty of room, and I just kept getting doored So like coming out of 3, I was like, okay, well if you want to do it to me, I have no problem doing it back. Um, and then just kept doing it, just kept doing it. Well, uh, he drove it in much harder, and I was able to get right back up to him, and he was still having to slow down by the time I was able to start rolling back into the throttle. But because I was in his wake, it just started shooting me to the wall, and I was trying to drive it, drive with both feet at that time, like modulating the gas and brake, and it was enough to send him. But it's one of them situations where we're getting down to it, and if you're gonna throw moves like that, well, some something's
Expect a
gonna give.
counter. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
something's gonna give, and unfortunately, he got the bad end of that stick. But no, it was a lot of fun. I enjoy this track. This is my home track, so I always like to put on a show and get good finishes here. Uh, I mean, it's unfortunate for him, but what can you do in those type of situations? Um,
Yeah, we talked about that tonight quite a bit, or at least I did. That catching them here at IMS is one thing, but having to make the pass, it's pretty tricky, especially in these cars now, like you said, with the dirty air and everything that's going on with that.
yeah, once he was out of the way, I was able to just set sail and keep on trucking. But yeah, I'm real happy for Tristan. This is his redemption for last year. He ended up in an incident and the closing laps here, and I ended up getting the win, which was special because it was a throwback weekend, and I was running a throwback Gordon Rainbow scheme to when he won the
The inaugural, yeah.
inaugural. Yeah,
Yeah, got to. Gordon was my favorite
so
driver back in the day, and this is also
he
my
was
home track, so
yeah, he was mine too.
yeah, absolutely. Well,
Um,
any final thoughts and shout outs, thank yous as we look ahead to North Wilkesboro next week?
um, man, I don't know about North Wilkesboro. I've tried and tried to figure that track out, but we'll see. Um, I just want to give a shout out to Tristan. I'm real happy he was able to get the win today. Where did Ryan finish? Ryan finished to P8. That's a good spot for him. Wish
It
we
was
could
a
get
photo
him.
finish. You'll have to go back and watch that. We had that right down to the wire. I mean, it was a photo finish. They were banging doors there coming to the yard of breaks.
Yeah. Um, yeah, all the Eon guys. I wish we could have gotten Ryan up here with us, but it is what it is. Um, you know, Christopher Travis of Rowdy Travis Designs. He made these schemes for us, and um, he's got a lot more schemes. He's trying to make uh, Humanities 101. Uh, give a good, just a big shout out to Humanities 101. Them coming aboard, and I've been with them for a couple years now, and them coming aboard the league and sponsoring the chase and the in-season tournament this season. Just incredible partners, bringing awareness to ADHD, autism, and giving good information about those, because like, as much as it is like it's I have ADHD, and it's a blessing and a curse. Like, it's a superpower, but at the same time it's your biggest weakness at times. But you know, my mom and dad, I'm gonna be going and seeing them. I'm gonna spend time with my niece tomorrow. I think we're gonna go ride some go-karts. Um, I think that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, congratulations on that P3 tonight, and we'll see you here next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right. And I believe Jonathan here is caught up with our second place finisher, John Osborne.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, welcome to the booth. So close yet so far away. Leading
Yeah.
the last 10 of the last 12 laps, but not the final 2. At Indianapolis, like you were so close, but just not quite as competitive as Bailey. We were watching the whole pit cycle where you cycled out just in front of him barely, and we knew we had a race on our. Walk us through the last laps, and we missed what got him side by side with you following a 4-car battle. If you can walk us through how he essentially lost the
okay.
lead.
Yeah, I'll walk you through it. I'll start at the pit stop. Knew I needed to pit before him because dirty air is so bad in this car, and but I didn't want to pit too far ahead of him. I felt like if he came down, the next lap, then our tires would be okay. A couple lap pressure tires weren't going to matter a ton. And so I just wanted to make sure I had a good, pit road entry and exit, and I just needed to beat him out. And so when I was coming around 2 and he was still at, there, he side drafted me. So I would have liked to pull away a little bit more. The thing that really killed me there on that long run was the lap car. The car on the tail end of the lead lap. As I called him, I asked him a few times very kindly if he'd let the leaders by, and he just said no. So, and when you're behind another car, you're using a whole lot more tire up, and Tristan was doing a really good job of trying to run not where I was, so he wasn't completely behind in my wake. But I kind of burned. I was trying to maintain the gap on him, which was, between 4 and 5 tenths. I think it actually got up to like 8 tenths, but and I think it would have been fine, had that car not been there. And I would have, because I would have just had clean racetrack, so I could have entered where I needed to enter. So I was trying to enter different ways, so I wasn't behind him. But after I got by him, Tristan is still, about 4 or 5 tenths back, and then he would edge closer, and then he would get in my dirty air. And what I should have done was defended a little bit more, and maybe do the old Indy weave down the front stretch and back stretch. But usually it just brings the car behind up to you, and that's not what I want. And so I was like, well, maybe if I can just stay in a straight line, that'll be good. And the big mistake I made when he got beside me is I went to block him low because he was going to have to draft and he was going to try to slingshot, and I should have stayed low. And I moved back up to make the entry into, I think it was 1. And he it actually helped him, and he was able to dive low. And at that point, I did everything I could, but that there's pretty much one lane with the way this car is right now. And once he got down there, I thought I might be able to clear him, but the side draft, it helps the car on the inside. So there was nothing I could do. And I'm not, I wanted to make sure I raced him clean there. But, great job to him, man. He ran one heck of a lap in qualifying. Me and my teammate were like, dude, where'd that come from? I mean, that was a blazing fast lap. That was a big thing at the beginning of the race was track position, because if you were in the back, you're not getting back. And so we were talking when that caution came out, because I had just came out of pit road, and I think I might have had 1 or 2 laps on my tires. I'm like, I'm not. I was like, we'll never get back up. I know Dwayne had to fight for that, but overall it was a great night. I think he got into a little kerfluffle there toward the end, but still finished 6th. So, wish I could have, held the 9 off. I probably could have defended a little bit better. But it's tough, but, move on to next week.
That'll be North Wilkesboro. And is there anyone you would like to mention before we let you go?
Yeah, for sure. Thank Adam and Ken for putting on such a fun league, ECR. Appreciate them. racing is always very competitive. Battlefield, as y'all were talking about the 4-car battle there toward the end. You know, I thank them a lot. I thank my teammate, Dwayne, and our team, Allegiant Incorporated. You know, appreciate him. We work our butts off every week to try to get a leg up. You know, we're right there. Just need to get one position forward. And thought I had it, but didn't. I want to thank you guys up here in the booth. Appreciate what y'all do. You know, always love watching back to the broadcasts and listen to y'all go back and forth. So lots of fun. Yeah, I think the sponsor on the car, Casio, eShot. Been wearing those since I was a kid, so decided to put them on the car. Appreciate them. Nothing official. I wish it was official. Casio, if you're listening, please send me a few watches. I'll give them out. Yeah, thank y'all. Looking forward to next week.
All right, John. Good hard-fought effort for P2. Look forward to see you next week in North Wilkesboro. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Oh, thank
Now-
you.
After a long series of interviews, we finally bring the winner of tonight's race, Tristan Bailey, to the booth. Gary, you're with him, but Tristan, you retake the lead with 2 laps to go, just about. What a show, and look forward to hearing your take on it.
It was very, very hard to pass. Like, I mean, it literally took that entire run trying to set him up. I'm like trying out different ways here and there, and then I finally figured out he was getting tight in 3 on entry every time. So I think he was overdriving a little bit, and then looked like 4. He just wasn't getting far enough down. I was able to get a little bit of air on my nose, and I kept getting runs there, and I finally got to him because he decided to stay low in the 1, and I just kind of went up a little higher. I slowed down a little bit more, and then I just kind of, I guess what you call like a, what do you call that? I forgot the name of it. That pass, switchback, whatever you want to call it. Kind of sort of did that on him, and then you know, glad we raced each other clean there because I feel like it was probably pretty cool in the broadcast for those couple laps, little action we had. Because I don't know, it's kind of feel like follow the leader a little bit. It's just how this Indy is and how this next gen is, how tight it is being behind somebody. But I don't know. Honestly, thought I wasn't gonna win because once he got in front of me after that pit stop there, I was like, oh god, I'm not gonna be able to pass him, am I?
Crush him.
But it's kind of got
Looked
lucky.
like
I
there
guess.
for a minute you weren't going to, but do you think Michael Carter, the lap car, not getting out of the
All
way
right, I'll
because
be
he didn't
careful.
have to because he was bound to stay on the lead lap? But do you think that had a little bit of a role? Because John said it did, as far as you being able to make that pass because of the draft from the 18. But what was your take on Michael Carter there at the end of that race, and you guys having to navigate around him too?
Well, I mean, he has a right to still stay in front of us. He don't have to move over. I mean, you know, if a caution does come out, that means he won't have to start at the very back of the tail end of the longest line. I mean, I know we only had, we had like 19 people, but still, I mean, you want to try to get up as much track position as you can. And I don't know, I mean, I was behind him the entire fuel run to the end there till the last 2 laps, so I really can't say nothing about tire wear, I guess, against him. I don't know.
Sure. All right. Well, we go to North Wilkesboro next week, but
Oh, God.
yeah, right. Tricky oval there. We'll just leave it at that. It's a little bit of a cluster there, but any thoughts or thank yous or shout outs you want to give as we let you go celebrate the big old W here in Indianapolis?
Shout out to you guys for broadcasting and admin in for the league and the admin group. Shout out to my wife if she's watching. I know it's kind of late for her. Shout out to my mom and my grandmother if they're watching. Shout out to Eons. We kind of helped each other in practice there before that because we didn't have time to practice Friday night. So it's good to see that Ryan got a 8th place finish. Or yeah, he finished 8th. Oh yeah, hell yeah. Started 13th, got the 8th. That ain't bad.
And you'll want to go back and watch that on the broadcast. That was entertaining to say the least for that 8th spot.
He was showing me a little bit ago before I hopped in the waiting room, so I was like, That's a little dicey, but I mean, with it being so hard to pass, I mean, what do you expect? You know, it's just all about clean air at this track for sure.
You would have thought it was Ricky Craven, Kurt Busch, the way they were battling there for 8th there right at the line.
I bet you that was a entertaining battle then to watch.
It was. All right, man. Well, we'll let you go celebrate that win here tonight, and congratulations again, and we'll see you next time.
All right, thank y'all.
All right, now
Final thoughts,
just time.
Jonathan, on Indianapolis?
Well, time for the final results after this one. It's a very long round of interviews right there. Tristan Bailey taking home the victory with the. I'm looking at qualifying here, but Tristan Bailey taking home the pole and the victory. John Osborne P2. Nearly all the laps led between first and second placed. Up 14 positions on the day was Adam Boughton. Fastest lap was Tyler Burden. And the guy who started first finished first. We did 200.87 miles tonight, 7 different leaders, 1 caution for only 3 laps here at Indianapolis. Unfortunately, Mueller is eliminated for the in-race challenge. That'll be 1 less driver next week for North Wilkesboro. I look forward to that one next week. Gary will be back on the call, expecting Joe be here for that one. And race fans, thanks for being a part of for the Elite Cup Racing Series, allowing us to be a part of your evening. Look forward to talking to you next time. Tony Trapasso would always say, folks, as you walk through life, please do not play in traffic. Good night.